All right, welcome back from that break. We're still talking about the 2014 budget and expectations for Nigerians. And I have with me still Tunji Andrew, the marketing analyst of TTAC Capital. Now, he revealed some exclusive stuff, and when we went at the break, he was telling me, "Oh my God, I shouldn't have, I shouldn't have said that." But we're going to go now into oil, which we believe almost the entire budget shall be executed or serviced by. And we have some questions from Twitter, but I'm going to go through a few questions I have here before I do that. Now, Tunji, what could the drop in the price of oil cost to the entire budget?
Well, basically, that's your revenue. If you don't have revenue, you can't fund whatever it is you want to do. It's a pity because the National Assembly seems not to understand this issue of crude oil benchmark. Let me point out something that was said by the I think it was the petroleum minister of Iran. Okay. He said that Iran is going to push out crude oil in 2014 once the sanctions are lifted, even if crude oil falls to $20 per barrel. Now, what that means is that with our crude oil benchmark at about $76 per barrel, if it falls to $20 per barrel, we are toast. Yeah. Basically, we really do not have any money to fund our budget. Now, we have an excess crude account. We have the Sovereign Wealth Fund, which actually acts as a buffer to be able to solve our issues going into, in case of revenue shortages. But the point at the end of the day is that it is not meant to fund your budget. It is just in case your budget doesn't come at the time it's supposed to come, or it doesn't meet expectations, you could use this to suffice and keep it up. But at the end of the day, it will spell doom. It will spell doom, and I think the finance ministry knows this, because you will notice that they were trying to bring the benchmark to $70 per barrel. They had this huge row with the National Assembly. The National Assembly they were saying $79 per barrel. It's obvious they do not understand because I mean, I saw the questions they had to Okonjo-Iweala. Oh my God. I don't think you could have had a more illiterate line of questioning. It was so obvious that these people had no idea of how an economy is being run. It was.
I'm sure you wishing you could go in there and tell them, what are you talking about?
I'm telling you, I mean, it was and you know, Okonjo-Iweala became very cheeky with it because she had to start explaining the processes. It was more like Econ 101. I mean, when I was reading that, it was a very cheeky response, but it was obvious from the questions that these people didn't understand what GDP, debt to GDP. They were asking, why is Nigeria's debt to GDP ratio so small? I mean,
the less said about that, better.
I'm already in trouble as it is.
Okay, so do you think the 2.39 million barrel sales per day was overestimated, owing that we could not achieve, well, we could achieve just about 2 million or slightly less in 2013?
You know, an estimate is always is basically a guess. In my industry, I tend to say that we are really people who say a lot of things we do not know, and because many a times you hear us say, okay, we estimate the GDP growth going to be about 7%. Then second quarter we say, okay, we've revised our GDP estimates and it's going to be 6.2%, and then third quarter we say, okay, we've revised it again, it's going to be 6%. So at the end of the day, you just kind of think we don't know what we're saying. But it's an estimate at the end of the day. It's just kind of a guess going by what we saw in the last few months. And okay, if this is consistent going into the new year, then we should expect this. All things being equal. But you know, things are never equal, you know. So it's an estimate, but at the end of the day, I don't think they should have set such a high mark, especially knowing the high shortages we experienced in 2013. But at the end of the day, what can we say?
Yeah, but when we look at, I have the figures here with me, and We have stipend for 30,000 ex-militants to be about 23.6 billion, and then we have 35.4 billion to be allocated to transform ex-militant. Don't you think the high expectation is probably because a lot of money is being pumped into the amnesty program, and we should expect some kind of commensurate increase in production per day due to all this budgets being channeled into that?
Well, we were paying those ex-militants in
Last
2013,
year.
so that did not stop the crude oil theft from happening. So I don't think paying them more or less is going to change anything in 2014. That stipend you were talking about, it's for, I think, 30,000 ex-militants, which comes to about 54,000 Naira per month per each per militant, which is rather annoying, because I mean there are people on my street who don't earn 20,000 Naira a month, and there's an ex-militant somewhere, he's being paid not to carry a gun anymore, and there's somebody trying to get work and he's trying to get decent living somewhere in Lagos or the suburbs of Ibadan, and he can't get that job, but someone in the creeks, because he used to carry a gun, and is being paid 54,000 Naira every month. It just shows that the government understands social reform, but is reluctant to make it on a wider scale.
Yeah, but are they not spending too much money? I mean, 54,000 Naira for doing nothing, just don't carry a gun.
Okay, you say it like that. You say it like that. Don't carry a gun. I mean, the alternative. What's the alternative? Carry a gun.
I think it's deadlier if they don't.
I mean.
Okay. All right. Let's come to the health sector. Now, there's a decrease in allocation for health, and having just 5 to 6% of the entire budget. And we all know that health is wealth. Why do you think there's a decrease? Because we're complaining about the health sector already. There's so many people talking about improvements and all of that. Why do you think there's a decrease this year?
Why do I think?
Yeah.
I don't know what is in the minds of the federal government, but I would say that I am quite shocked about the health allocation, because coming just before Christmas, we had a 5-day warning strike by the Nigerian Medical Association, and also there was promise by the National Assembly to pass the National Health Bill into law. Yeah. None of this was done. And then you now slash down their allocations. These people are complaining about poor health working conditions, and then you now allocate less money to the entire sector. It's worrisome. It's worrisome because if you say one of the things you're trying to achieve in 2014 is inclusive growth. Now, inclusive growth, what it generally means is it's an economic big English to mean more people sharing the money. Now, if you hear that Nigeria's GDP is 7%, Nigeria grew at 7% GDP, it basically means that Nigeria's worth is now 7% more of what we used to be, which was 260 billion or so. But that money seems to stop at the top. It doesn't trickle down. Yeah. And what the federal government is trying to say is that we're trying to create schemes and things that will make that money come into the lower cadres of the economy. The central bank in 2013 created this 220 billion SME intervention fund, which it was creating for women and children. No, basically women SMEs. About 60% of that money went to SMEs. Now, those are schemes that are created to affect inclusive growth.
Yes.
One of the key factors of creating inclusive growth is health. Now, if I am well, I can go to work. If I can go to work, I can earn an income to feed my family. Now, if I'm sick and I can't afford healthcare, what happens? I die, and I die. But with the National Medical Association complaining that the poor working conditions are too strenuous for them to work under, and then you are now slashing the budget, it's just kind of calling their bluff, sort of, as it was with ASU in 2013. So I'm just hoping that we don't have strikes.
Okay, all right. Now, I want to ask this question quickly. Should the government the federal government, should they spend money to improve the primary health care?
Yes. I mean, I just said it, it's a factor of life. You cannot have people without creating decent healthcare for them. Women, there's high mortality rate.
Yes.
We have children dying. We have high polio rates in Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria is one of the few states in the world where polio isn't eradicated. It's amazing.
Okay, but let me quickly ask this. Now, for the layman's understanding, what is primary health care?
Basically, healthcare that is at the grassroots.
That's the local government. That is the one you can easily walk to the hospitals,
and get free consultancy services, free what's the word now? Free drugs.
Okay, but should this not be something that the state government or the local government should focus on, while the federal government focuses on tertiary healthcare?
Well, the federal government, the state governments are doing what they can do. Now, we might want to look at states like Lagos State, which has one of the most advanced healthcare systems in Nigeria. But when you want to start talking about states like Kano, Kebbi, Ekiti, which have very low internet-generated revenue, you know that the federal government has to step in to help this place.
Okay, so it's primarily for the federal and for the local and state government, but the federal government should step in. Okay, now there's a question from Twitter that I need to take so that my Twitter followers, they're happy. Why is the NASS, the last budget, not reduced since it was noticed that the Nigerian GDP cannot sustain it?
Well, you see, those people are very powerful people. That's why I'm a bit scared I just said what I said earlier. Their budget their allocation is untouched. They look like untouchables as it may be. I mean, the row between on the 2013 budget before they passed it, the fact that in 2013 they allocated nothing to Security and Exchange Commission, it just shows you that these people are very powerful and they hold a lot of might in Nigeria. So it's not really the executive is trying.
Okay.
But I don't think we can do anything about it.
All right, you got an answer to your question. Now, thank you so much, Tunji, for joining us in
it's a pleasure.
Studio.
It's a pleasure.
It was lovely to have you. Very enlightening. And I'm sure my viewers also enjoyed you. We're going to go on a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to the entertainment segment. And I have in the studios with me Gabriel Afolayan, fantastic musician and actor. Don't go away. I'll be right back.